Most RimWorld players don't realize how critical the first 24 hours to a successful colony. What is up, guys? My name is Vessi, and in today's video I'll show you exactly how to not only survive but thrive in your very first day in RimWorld. The very first step to surviving your first day on the Rim is creating a new colony. For this video we're going to use the scenario the game is designed around, Crash Landed. If you've watched my streams before, you'll know I personally like playing on Naked Brutality, which is basically RimWorld on hard mode, but for beginners, Crash Landed is absolutely the best place to start. After choosing your scenario, you'll be prompted to select an AI storyteller. This is what makes RimWorld RimWorld and such a special game. If you've never played before, I highly recommend starting with Cassandra Classic. She gives you time to learn the game at a natural pace without throwing the absolute worst events at you right away. Looking at you, Randy Random. The next thing we need to do is select our difficulty from over here in the middle. I always like to do somewhere in between Strive to Survive and Bloodlust, or if I'm playing on Naked Brutality, I just do Losing is Fun. But for the purpose of this video and this future series guide, we're going to be doing Adventure Story. Before we do that though, we need to select our commitment mode. If you do reload anytime mode, you can reload from any previous autosave, but if you choose commitment mode, you're stuck with what's going on. I always like to play on commitment mode, so that's what we're going to go with. For this, we can just skip over all of it for the purpose of this video and go ahead and generate. Now we need to select our spawn location. This is one of the most important decisions you'll make because it will affect your entire playthrough. I always recommend starting in a temperate forest biome. It's forgiving, has plenty of resources, and is perfect for learning the game. Where I differ from most players, however, is I like to start off in the mountains, specifically a mountain with a growing period of year-round. One very important thing we look out for is that our features does not say mountains and caves. We just want it saying mountain. Caves are terrifying in RimWorld, and they're home to one of the most overpowered enemies in the entire game. We'll probably deal with them eventually, but early on you don't want the headache of a man-hunting insect crawling out of a cave and wiping out your entire colony. The last thing I look for is my stone types to say granite and marble. Granite because it is strong and fire resistant, and marble because its beauty bonus helps keep our colonist happy. Now hit the next button, and we will move on to our colonist. I mentioned earlier that your spawn location is an important decision, but choosing your starting colonist is single-handedly what will determine whether your first day in RimWorld goes well. Now I'm not going to go through every single trait or health condition in the game. The big things to watch out for are traits that give your colonist a mood debuff. These are a complete no-go. Ideally, you want colonists with useful work-related traits. Some of my favorites are Fast Walker, Brawler, Trigger Happy, or Fast Learner. Anything that will give you an early advantage. Hard Worker, for example, is a great one to have. There's Brawler. I'm going to pick my first three colonists, then I will explain why I went with them after. Our first colonist is Mr. Starry. He's a fast learner, which means he learns skills 75% faster. And yes, that's just as amazing as it sounds. He's also a brawler, so he'll do well in melee fights. Every skill in RimWorld goes up to level 20. Some colonists have fire symbols next to their name, which is called a passion. If they have 2 fire symbols, it becomes a burning passion. 1 fire symbol means they learn at 100% rate. 2 means they learn at 150% rate. So try and get colonists with as many passions or burning passions as possible, especially in skills that are important to them, such as this guy having planting and intellectual. That means he's going to be doing our plant cutting, our farming, and he'll be doing our research. Moving on to Mr. Noob. Mr. Noob is a jogger, which allows him to move faster, and he's trigger happy, which means he can shoot faster. He also has a burning passion in animals, which will allow us to tame the wildlife and people. He's also a medical professional, or passionate about medicine, I guess. and he's also pretty good at being social, so he'll be able to recruit people. Lastly, we have Virgil. I won't lie, I'm a little bit worried about Virgil. Being a psychically hypersensitive cannibal and a fast learner, he has quite a lot of traits. The first one just means that he's going to be affected by mood swings a little bit more that can happen from events out in the world. Being a cannibal might seem like a negative trait, but as long as you don't eat people in front of other colonists, you should be just fine. But you also don't have to eat any people. It's not like he has a requirement for eating human flesh. And then fast learner, of course. He'll be a backup doctor. He'll also be doing our construction. I would have liked to have a colonist with a higher cooking skill, but level 5 with a fast learner, he should be just fine. The reason why we want a high cooking skill, though, is so that they don't get any food poisoning from any of their meals. Now that you have your colonist, hit the start button, and we will load into our map. Once you're on this screen, you can click OK. If you want to read the backstory, it's just a little bit about how your colonist got here. Once you click OK, though, you need to immediately hit the pause button. Pausing before your colonists even land gives you a huge advantage. You can start preparing the colony so they can hit the ground running. If you're a subscriber of mine, you might already know what we're about to do, so you can go ahead and skip to this timestamp on screen. If you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. I make RimWorld content and stream the hardest difficulty in the game, so come stop by and say hi, or just support the channel. I'm trying to hit 400 subscribers by the end of the year, so only you can make that possible for me. The first thing we need to do is set our colony schedule. This tells our colonist when to sleep, work, or do anything else. If your colonist is a night owl, make sure they're asleep at night or between 11 and 18. If they're a quick sleeper, you can subtract 3 hours off of their sleep time, either at the start of it or at the end. Getting your colonist sleep schedule right ensures they are awake and productive when you need them most. The best schedule that I've always used is something like this. Then if you go over here, you can copy and paste, since all of these people are the same skills and stuff. Next, go down to Assign, and we'll manage our medical care. On the left side over here, click on the bandage icon, or whatever you want to call it, and choose Herbal Medicine or Worse, and do this for everybody. Herbal medicine is enough for most problems in the game, but if a colonist gets something such as an infection, immediately switch them to best quality medicine or you risk losing them. Now, whoever your doctors are, in my case, it's 2 different people, go over to the right side and click the number 0, and we're going to change it to 3. This allows our doctors to be carrying our best medicine at all times so that they can respond to any immediate problem that they may see. Finally, click on the Assign tab one more time, and we're going to want to manage our apparel policies. Click the Anything button. Change this top slider to 51%. The reason we do this is it allows our colonists to take off any apparel that gets below 51%. That way we can resell it at the highest value. Next, we want to turn off Allow Tainted Apparel, since colonists get a major mood debuff if they wear dead people's clothes. Next, we want to manage our food policy. Pay attention because this gets a little bit tricky. We want to disallow rotten food. Then we want to click on this little drop-down box next to raw food. Click on the drop-down box next to vegetarian. And actually, first off, we want to disallow raw food, and then we just want to allow berries only. Sorry about that, guys. Then we want to disallow hay, want to disallow kibble, we want to disallow corpses, and we want to disallow raw resources. Then you can go ahead and click the close button. Lastly, we want to go ahead and set up our work priorities. To do this, we want to allow manual priorities, and this is a little bit tricky to explain, so I'm going to try and do my best here. Assigning the number 1 to somebody means that that is their top priority.
Marking it as number 2 kind of makes it like a secondary priority, and third is kind of like an optional. They may do it, they may not do it. I wouldn't really ever use 4 unless you're kind of wanting somebody to be a backup researcher, or if you don't have somebody to do art, for example. Other than that, having them at a 4 means they're almost never going to do it. One thing I will say to remember is that these little white boxes means that that's the person that's like best at that, or they're pretty good at it, I will say. You can also see in the little bottom right corner over here that they're passionate in it, or burning passion. But if you guys want a little tip real quick, take away all of their numbers. Probably could have chosen somebody that had less numbers on them. Hit the copy button and paste it, so that way you get like a little fresh slate here. You could also just uncheck manual priorities and then do the check marks. That's probably a whole lot faster. But if you want to select the whole row, you can hold down the shift button and right click, and that'll set the whole row to 1. But I'll be back once I've set up my whole schedule. Alright, so that's going to be our ideal schedule. Some of the things that I have multiple people on, such as Warden, is just so that way, like if Noob, for example, was incapacitated, these 2 people would step up to do it. Cooking, though, I would only have one person. Whoever your best cook is, that's who's going to be your cook. It's just too big of a risk, and you don't want anybody getting food poisoning or anything. Construction's another one that's kind of 50-50 because you obviously don't want them botching like a really valuable piece of construction. Like if they botch your generator and you only have 3 components, well, that sucks. You just lost all of your components. Plant cutting's another one that's kind of important. You only set your best colonist at that, so that way they don't botch the plant harvest and you lose the crop. The other stuff, though, pretty much anybody can do it. Now we can zoom out and figure out where we want to build our base. I'm thinking my main base will go somewhere in this big mountain, but for now we kind of need to build a starter base, especially somewhere near some fertile soil. That way we can get crops going fast. But before we get crops going, we need to go ahead and set up a stockpile that will eventually go ahead and actually become our base as well. To do this, we hit stockpile zone, and we're going to want to make a little 9x9 box. Next, we want to click on our little stockpile, hit the storage button, and we're going to want to disallow rotten, and we're going to want to go ahead and allow animal corpses and mechanoid corpses, and plants. Next, go down to architect one more time, and we're going to make one more stockpile zone. This stockpile is going to be where we're going to store all of our bodies and some of our rock chunks. So we want to kind of stick it out of the way so that way our colonists don't go over there. Go ahead and hit clear all. We want to allow rotten in this one, but we want to go ahead and allow corpses. We want to allow chunks, and let me double check we set this one right. Yep. So now we want to go ahead and go back to Architect, click on Grow Zone, and to make this easier so that you can see where the rich soil is, you can go down there to the bottom right, and it'll show you where these rich soil plots are. A good rule of thumb is you want about 20 slots for every colonist. We can go ahead and shrink that just a little bit. About 79 should be enough. Then you want to click on the little plant icon, and we're going to change it to rice. Rice grows super fast and you get a lot of it, so it's one of the best early game crops. Now that we have our zone set up, we can go ahead and click that off, and we can go ahead and let our colonists drop in.
Once the pod's open and you see all the items on the ground, the first thing we need to do is equip our pawns. I like to put the armor on my melee pawn. I give the rifle to my pawn with the lowest shooting skill, and the pistol goes to my pawn with the highest skill. In this case, Noob's going to get the pistol,
Virgil will get the rifle. Starry's going to be the guy with the knife. And then we can go ahead and click the play button. And then I'm going to go ahead and pause while I let Starry go ahead and start equipping the armor. You'll notice how some of our colonists are getting sick. When you first spawn in this game, they get a effect known as cryo sickness. And while he is equipping that last thing, we need to go ahead and allow our pawns to pick up all of these things. Another thing you want to go ahead and allow them to pick up are going to be some of these wood blocks. Do not pick up this steel yet. That is kind of important. But go around your immediate area, allow them to pick up some wood. But while they're playing, they'll go ahead and start chopping down the trees in the grow zones and planting crops as well while they're hauling everything. While they're finishing up hauling everything, let's go ahead and start work on our base. I like to go ahead and just outline our box with a bunch of walls. Then we're going to come back over and we're going to place a door on 2 different sides. That way they have a little bit of access. And then they're going to go ahead and start building that. Starry's finishing up the farm over there. And it looks like Virgil's going to go ahead and start constructing. And as you see, since we've got our priorities set correctly, everybody's doing something different. Virgil's working on the house, Starry's planting, and Noob's carrying everything back and forth. And since we picked up all that wood, we don't have to spend time chopping trees. Now that the house is almost finished, we can go ahead and place down a couple of beds in here so that they'll all have a place to sleep. Another thing I recommend placing will be a tiny little table. Well, I'm too used to playing with mods. The smallest table you can place in the base game is one of these, it looks like. Which I really don't want to place in there, to be honest with you. So we'll go ahead and place one of these little tables. And we're going to place 3 dining chairs around it. This gives them somewhere to eat. And that'll make them happy. The last thing we want to go ahead and place for them is a horseshoe pin, which will allow them to have a little bit of an area to recreate. But if we go ahead and select Virgil, we can prioritize him to finish that last wall. And then that's going to go ahead and almost finish our base on day 1. Almost. We'll see if they end up finishing it. We still have 2 hours left in our first day. I want to watch Virgil finish this area. So let's go ahead and allow him to prioritize building the roof area. Okay, he's not going to really do that how I wanted him to. That is pretty much your first day in RimWorld. If you guys enjoyed this and want to see maybe how to survive your first week in RimWorld, drop a like on this video and maybe subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future uploads. I've been doing RimWorld content for the last week and it's been doing amazing across my channel. So I'm super thankful for that, guys. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any future streams, of course, and come say hi to me. But I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.